Hello everyone, this is Daniel here. I'm not going to show my face because, I'm trying to see what I can get on the background and keep an eye on other things as myself. There's, certain parks have, certain things. So, I don't have the sign, it's all blurred, so that's good. So that's all I'm going to tell you right now for what I'm doing right now. So, anyway, there are a few things I would like to tell you about DNA and how everything behaves. Alright, if you're seeing this grass, I would say about 50 to 60% of that grass, 50% of that and 60% of the grass DNA is the same as ours. Tree, I believe, like 50 to 60% of the DNA is ours. Fruits is basically 50 to 60% of the DNA is ours. That's what I believe. The birds have 80% of the DNA. Dogs have 90. Cats have 90. And God has 100% of all creation's DNA. Just remember that. So if you're wondering what I'm getting at, God has all the feelings of all the animals combined. And that's all the things that are based off. All the feelings of animals and humans. All are the same in all one. So if you're wondering how a tree is feeling, it's feeling the same as human beings. If you're wondering how your dog is feeling about you, it's the same as feeling as human beings. Every single thing has the same feeling and the same gross out. Everything that all the animals have, everything that the trees have is the same thing that I would say you and I have. Because God and all creation, all are one. So, let me give you an example of how interesting things have gone. I mean, how would you feel if you were being loved and then all of a sudden teased? And this person then later did not tease you, but then basically decided to have you attack the person, and you decided to attack the person, and then you left in all your feelings, what you feel, and then basically when you left on the other side of the house and the person decided to throw things at you on the other side of the house, how would you feel? Because sadly enough, I did that to the cats, and I all that, and I was basically, I was basically petting, and then I was petting her belly, which cats don't like, and then I was also quite literally flicking her tail all over the place, and then she decided to, basically she decided to bat at me, and I said, "Oh, why don't you draw blood?" And she decided, "Okay, how would I draw blood to actually make you feel what I feel?" And then she decided to bite at my finger, and then I was teasing her more, and then she left on the other side of the sofa, and then I decided to threat to throw a pillow at her. And she had the saddest expression on her face. I have never seen such sadness from a cat or any creature in that kind of regard. I have never seen such sadness. And think about it. What if he did that to God by saying, "I do not accept you"? What if he did that to God? Would he have such a sad face? He would come back to you, but he would have such a saddest face that you could never even imagine how sad his face would be. Imagine the saddest face you have ever seen. Imagine how God would feel if you decide to reject him. All the world decides to reject God. And he's so sad when his people are hurt or are rejecting him. Sorry for the wind. That's kind of windy out today. How would you feel if your best friend, for a long relationship, like 50 years, married, decided to reject you at the very weakest point? Guys, that's how God feels when you reject Him. And also, how would you feel if you just had your baby and the baby was very healthy, and all of a sudden she got ill, or he got ill, and she seemed to be the smartest baby ever. She had everything going in front of her, and then all of a sudden she fell ill and then died. That's how God would feel if you got sick, or if you start suffering. That's why you should pray for people and humanity. That's why you should pray for humanity, because God, pray for all humanity. And if any creature that you see suffering, pray for it. Because it's not God's will for any suffering. It's not for God's will that He suffers. Because He wishes you can. It's a little close.
Oh, okay.
It's not His will that anyone suffers, or anyone that's rejected, especially Him. Because He is there for you. He is absolutely there for you. If you're not there part of Him, then who are you part of? The world, which is owned by the devil himself? Because in the world there's suffering and great pain and sorrow. And He sees hell as the worst place ever. And since you are rejecting Him, look at the feelings of the worst feeling that you have ever seen. The saddest face you have ever seen. Imagine that being Jesus' face. Or being God's face. Imagine that saddest face that you've ever seen being God's face. Would you think twice about rejecting Him? I think you would. But would you still reject Him? You might. Because, His love for you is so great that it's not His will that anyone or suffering. Again, he has no fear because that's the devil's. That's just animal. But let's look at this. It's relaxing. Can you see it? I can't because I'm not in sunlight. But they're just relaxing. These Canadian geese are relaxing. We give them respect and space. We also give God respect and space. First is space. First is respect, which is to accept Him into your heart, dedicate your life to Him, repent, and become His. Then we give Him some space, because He's also a hard worker, but also give Him space so we can, just do what God tells you to do. That kind of space. Because it's also respect and space that you're doing it. And the third thing is, do God's will. And by the way, they're all connected. All the things that are of God, He gave it to animals, plants, and trees, and humanity. Even the angels have God's feelings. But fear is not of God. It is of earth. It is corrupt. And spirits are corrupt as well. And I think, what about spirits? What about the evil ones? Well, they have God's feelings, sadly enough. But they have Him corrupted completely. But also know that we do not have to be our part of the evil spirits. We have to have all the feelings of God. And do not fear. Because that's not of God. And that of God means we just quite intentionally, of God usually just means we're just like God. of God just means that we are 100% with God, with the feelings and the attitudes and all the holy behaviors and all the things that we do. We do God's will by implying all the things that we do like God. We are to be 100% like God. Even though we have been corrupted by sin, it means we can repent from sin. It means, sin is sin, and basically we sin. But we do not have to be part of sin. We can become less like sin over time. Just remember that being 100% like God is being 100% correct. No, it's not correct, but it's 100% being like God is what God really wants us to be like. Even though we're not 100%, we have to be having the attitudes of 100% of God. That's all we have to have. Not that we are perfect, but our attitudes have to reflect on God, okay? Even the feelings. Alright, I'll be done now, okay? Bye.